Evening. Back again, some more new records and a few things I've just been listening to. Playing in the background right now is the second Nightmare record, Power of the Universe from 1985. The French power metal band. Pretty good stuff. I recently found their first record too. I just haven't got it yet, but I can't wait to hear that. This is one of those bands that I found way later. They're still putting out records now, but all kinds of different lineups and whatnot. But I've got a few of their recent albums, and I like those a lot. So now I'm going back through the 80s stuff and tracking this stuff down. And this one's really good. I heard their first album's even better, but we'll find out soon here. Also found a new band from the 80s, German thrash metal band, Death in Action. This is their second record, I believe, of 3. And I'd never even heard of this band, but I ran across the cover art, and once I saw that pencil-drawn cover art, I just had to have it. And luckily, the music doesn't disappoint. It's got a little bit of that crossover thrash going on. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward thrash. At least this record is. I think their first record might be a little bit more on the hardcore side, but I haven't heard it yet, so we'll see. Pretty cool. It's a band from the United States that I'm a big thrash fan. Thrash is one of my favorites, but the modern bands, it takes a lot to impress me with that. And I avoided this band just because there's a lot of them, and I finally accidentally clicked on a music video, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It's pretty good stuff. It's Void. They got 2 records out, and I believe this is their first record here, Horrors of Reality, and this is just fantastic thrash metal. I watched all their videos and checked out a couple more sound bites as well, and both of these records are just chock full of 80s worship thrash, yet it didn't sound like copy and paste, if that makes sense. Some of the bands they kind of sound like that, but this band really, they weren't even alive in the 80s, but they nailed it. So they got the right albums in their collection, that's for sure. And they definitely have the know-how to pull it off and write the songs, so love that. I'm still working on finishing up my Jag Panzer collection on vinyl. Just got the Casting the Stones album from 2004, and this is one of the later albums, obviously, with Harry on vocals again, of course. Anyway, this is an okay album. I don't mind it. I've got it on CD from release date on, but I think it's good when I get it on the player, but I hadn't really retained too terribly much from this particular album, not like some of the other albums that they did. They kind of get into you real quick and stay there. Back in the 90s, in the mid 90s and early 90s, I had a lot of pen pals across the United States, and they helped. We kind of helped each other find all kinds of music that we were each looking for. And one of the letters that came in, we were trading some demos back and forth for the Shadow Thief demos for Jag Panzer, and he had mentioned that don't buy the new Jag Panzer, it's terrible. And I didn't read that part. I read new Jag Panzer, put the letter down, got in the car, and went to the record store. And anyway, of course, that's the famous Dissident Alliance album, which I then bought it on CD back in the day. I've since got it on record, which this is pretty limited press. This is a very widely hated record, and for good reason. There's some okay stuff on here, and at the time that I bought this, I also didn't exactly have a lot of new records always coming in, and so I probably listened to this album a lot more than I would have today, let's say. So I am familiar with it. Always hated that cover, but anyway, Yeah, I had to pick this up when I got the chance, just because I wanted it on vinyl, and I don't know. We'll see. Okay, this one's a straight up bootleg right here. The first Danzig record. I discovered recently that this label, it's not even on here. There's a bootleg record label. I think it's called I don't remember what it's called actually, and it's not on here. But anyway, they did the first Danzig record, which this album is, it's not impossible to find on vinyl, but it's impossible to find it at a decent price. And I mean, it's easy for it to go 100, 200 or more even in some cases. And I just didn't want to pay that much for it. I've got this on CD and probably tape too, but I've always wanted the vinyl. So that same record label also put out the demos, which I've since ordered. I'm just waiting for them to arrive in the mail. But yeah, first Danzig record. These next few, I'm just filling holes on vinyl. The Nightmares, this is one of those albums, the EP that I picked up back in the early 90s on tape, and I've got it on CD as well, as part of other stuff that has come out over the years. But I wanted to get a nice version of this on vinyl, an original copy, and so I've done that now and pretty happy with it. The 3 new tracks on here I really like. Oh, it's actually just 2 new tracks and a cover. Don't care about the cover, but man, I love Kenny Powell's guitar playing always, no matter what he's doing. And of course, this one has J.D. Kimball on vocals still, and I like this one a lot. This is not exactly what you would call essential, but it is rather fun to throw it on the turntable. So, same thing, had this on tape for years. The Ghostbusters EP from Eccentrics. I always liked their cover of Ghostbusters. If you know, I guess it's kind of fun. At the time this came out, I was also listening to Mordred, and it just has that same feel that Mordred Fool's Game album has on it. And of course, they did Super Freak on that record as a cover, and it's a funky, interesting, turned into a metal song, kind of like what they did with Ghostbusters. Goofy as this is, it's still pretty cool. Yeah, that's that. I gotta look up who this vocalist is on this Nightmare album, because that's pretty cool. See how long he went with the band. If I remember correctly, this second album from Nightmare, that vocalist was his debut for on this album, and their original vocalist was only on their first album, which I heard he's even better, so we'll see. Alright, so I've been waiting for this one to come out, and I actually have not heard this yet. The new Amorphis. Pretty excited to hear this. I love this band. They've got, 3 distinctive different eras at this point. Gosh, you could probably make a case for 4 distinctive eras, but they'll last like 10 years. Well, especially since, Circle, when that came out, that one really blew me away. But even going back before that was Skyforger and whatnot, I love those records. I will play those records still. I'm expecting good things from this one. I haven't heard anything about it as far as like what people are saying or whatever. Not that that matters to me at all, but cool artwork too. This folds out to a big double record. Anyway, looking forward to hearing this one. Should be pretty good. Here's a band I've been listening to forever. I found this band back in the Heresy days. Gotta be around 89, and I bought that album on tape as well. I bought a lot of tapes back then. Probably bought a good 1,000 tapes back in those days. And anyway, Paradox, the German thrash, speed metal, progressive, whatever. There's all of it's in there. So this album just came out, and it looks like the band is just a solo project now. it looks like it's just the one guy, the one main guy, Charlie, is that his name? And he played everything on the record, so interesting to hear this. I hope it's good. They did some pretty cool stuff back in the late 90s and early 2000s, and they did a couple of other albums since then too. Kind of flew underneath my radar a little bit, but I'm gonna throw this one on soon and check this out. I hope it's awesome. Ah, it's a good old band. Magnus, old Polish. Gosh, you could make the case that they're like a death thrash or thrash death. Either way, it's a little bit of an interchangeable thing. The vocals are screamed. Think Sodom, Creator, Slayer, you know, real rough and not completely down guttural though. So anyway, this is their demos, and so this actually completes my collection of their material, having these two demos, the Thrash Speed Blood and Demo 1988 and Embryo 1988 demos. Anyway, yeah, you can see they look like Slayer, any of those bands from that era. A little bit of an acquired taste on the vocals, I get that, but these guys are pretty rough. Definitely some Brazilian influence as well. Good stuff. This is just an old favorite of mine. It's an EP, so you know it's a live album EP, of course. But I love these guys in this era live. The original lineup, playing songs from the first record live, is a tornado of devastation. Those guys were so tight, so aggressive. And when they played those songs live, they were way more aggressive than on the album. The album was pretty polished, and it takes away a little bit of that edge, which they would gain back on the second record, although at that point the songs were slowed down a little bit, and the riffs were heavier and more filled. But yeah, this is essential Forbidden for that era of the band. It's a great live EP. Good stuff. Finally, I finally picked this one up on vinyl. This is another one. This is Wolf's Lair Abyss, Mayhem. So Mayhem, I like this record, especially Ancient Skin. That's my favorite one off of here. The whole album is pretty good. It's basically just an EP, but it's pretty good. I'm always going to be much, and I mean much more fond of the D Mysterious and Death Crush material. For whatever that's worth, I just liked the way Euronymous played guitar. Loved it. Big fan of the Live in Leipzig and Dawn of the Black Hearts live albums as well. For that same reason, I just like to hear him play. I love the way he constructed those riffs. Between what they were doing and what Emperor was doing and a few of those other bands, I think that's kind of where you get that sound from. Of course, D Mysterious had Varg on bass as well, Hellhammer, and I don't know, there's just that sound. It's a pretty wicked sound. I actually listened to it this morning. But anyway, yeah, Wolf's Lair Abyss. It's pretty good. And some CDs. I don't buy very many CDs anymore, but I had to get these because now I can rip them. So I got this is a bootleg, of course, the death metal compilation from '84, I think. Running Wild, Dark Avenger, Halloween, and Hellhammer, all of their earliest material on here. Yeah, 1984. Anyway, yeah, great boot. I don't know who made it. Nobody said who made it, but that's a good one. I've got this on vinyl. It's one of my grails, actually. I can't put a vinyl on at work. Wish you could. And of course, I couldn't pass this up. This is the Ravage demo, which is obviously pre-Atheist. So it's got the Atheist demo and the Ravage demo from '87, which has like On We Slay on it, which would go on to be on the first record, the Atheist record. So anyway, I couldn't pass this up. Also a bootleg attributed to nobody. Nobody made it. It just exists. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you later. Bye.